You know what sucks? High school. Like, it blows hardcore. But if there's one thing that would make it a good time, well, that'd be having superpowers, like these two guys. Peter Parker, the amazing Spider-Man, and Frank West, the photojournalist with a deadly and creative arsenal. Ah, Spider-Man. Truly one of Marvel's best superheroes. He's a nerd that one day was bitten by a Wait, what the hell? I already briefly covered Spider-Man's backstory, and everybody already knows this. Why the hell? Oh no, I'm turning into a Spider-Man reboot movie. Quick, let's talk about his powers. Well, he gains super senses that allow him to pick up on radio frequencies, and he has his iconic spider sense that allows him to react to almost anything. However, if Spidey himself doesn't see it as a threat, the spider sense can fail. It's kind of like Ultra Instinct before it was cool. Now, Spider-Man can climb up any surface, and he has a small healing factor that can help him recover from any serious wounds over time. Now, Spider-Man does wield quite the arsenal. He's got his trusty web shooters that can shoot normal webs and an array of special ones. These include taser webs, acid webs, cement webs, ice webs, impact magnetic webs, sonic webs, flame webs, antitoxin webs, and he's got plenty of other things like webware and spider tracers that are actually pretty useful for his set of webs. He also uses webs to create shields, tie people up, force people to fly against walls or into each other, or even set traps that can do a whole bunch of other shit too. Now, Peter Parker is pretty strong, as he's strong enough to move the Hulk with physical force alone. Not only did he move him, but he moved him at speeds over Mach 400. He's also held up a building before, and he's one-shot T-Rex, and even punched Scorpion so hard, it removed his bottom jaw. That's like some Mortal Kombat type shit. Spider-Man's also super duper quick, as he's dodged lightning and machine gun fire on the regular, and at one point he hit Quicksilver while he was traveling at a rather fast speed. And he's also caught Thor's fucking hammer. Yeah, if you remember from a few episodes ago, I calculated this. I had some help calculating that his hammer could reach up to speeds of 60 million times faster than light. That's pretty good reaction speed. Spider-Man's also survived vicious blows from the likes of Venom and Carnage and other characters like Mr. Fantastic and Daredevil multiple times. Not to keep in mind, Carnage is stronger than both Spider-Man and Venom combined. Now, Peter Parker's also a genius, as he's mastered martial arts, and he's even one of the most intelligent people in the Marvel Universe. And Reed Richards and Tony Stark have called upon him for help on more than one occasion with projects, and he's skilled enough to fight alongside the Avengers and even take on a few Avengers in a fight on his own. But don't take his genius and skill for perfection. Peter is a high schooler and doesn't tend to take a fight too seriously unless he knows he's in real danger, which can lead to some pretty bad situations. Hey look, Frank West is back. Right back to Combo Breaker for his third fight. Don't worry, I'll start spacing out Frank West fights a lot more. I don't want him to turn into, Sans or Spider-Man. A lot more. I don't want him to turn into, Sans or Spider-Man. Sans or Spider-Man. Although, for all you people complaining, Nathan Drake has been on here 4 times. That's the most times the fire has shown up so far, so quit complaining about Frank West. So, Frank West doesn't actually have any superpowers. Well, unless you count his endless creativity as a superpower, but I'll touch on that in a second. You see, Frank has learned to treat day-to-day objects like teddy bears, firecrackers, cardboard boxes, and even stuff like squirt guns as lethal weapons. Other than that, he'll obviously use your standard weapons like guns, broadswords, knives, baseball bats, chainsaws, battle axes, katanas, your standard stuff. While those weapons are great and all, they're not quite enough for Frank to survive. So Frank learned an important skill, improvision. And with this amazing creativity, he made some pretty badass weapons. Like his laser sword that's made out of a flashlight and some jewelry, because logically that's how science works. He can also make a Tesla gun and he can mix that Tesla gun with his laser to make a laser gun. Yeah, don't even worry, his weaponry gets even more ridiculous, because Frank West is like a Disney Imagineer of death. Don't believe me? Well, allow me to talk more about Frank's badass weapons. Frank has a flamethrower made out of gasoline and a squirt gun. He can also light a cow skull on fire, and it allows him to charge through hordes of zombies. He can also, take some knives and put them on some boxing gloves, allow him to make some makeshift Wolverine claws. But I don't think Frank's getting accepted at Professor X's school for youngsters anytime soon. But wait, order now and you'll get the special TV offer of more of Frank's ridiculous weapons. Like the chainsaw paddle, which is a paddle with chainsaws on both ends, allowing him to row himself through hordes of zombies. He also has a shotgun with a pitchfork on it, allowing him to impale his victim and then fire a deadly blast through them. Or if Frank needs a big ass boom, he can take multiple grenades to a football to make the Hail Mary. They can throw, causing a massive ass explosion. Oh, but wait, there's even more, like his freeze bomb to freeze opponents, a saw blade launcher which launches saw blades, a plate launcher which, well, launches plates, and an adult toy launcher, and a fucking firework minigun. He also carries even more weapons, like an air horn with the force to shatter skulls, or a super electric guitar that can send out huge ass sound waves to kill zombies. He can also create an electric sledgehammer that acts like Mjolnir, but with a longer handle so you don't look like a dumbass. He also makes a sledgehammer with a fire axe to make the most dangerous weapon ever, the Defiler. Yeah, that weapon has that name for a reason. He also has access to the Mega Man's Mega Buster, Zero's Z-Saber, and Proto Man's Proto Buster and Shield. And Frank's most unexpected tool is his camera. This flash at close range is actually equal to that of a military-grade flashbang, allowing him to stun foes. And while I know this isn't canon, it's demonstrated quite well when you look at it in the Marvel vs. Capcom series, where you can use it to stun an enemy to prolong combos. But he has even more up his sleeve, like his ability to eat and drink just about anything to regain health. Or he can, Speaking of drinking, Frank can actually create stat-boosting smoothies by mixing some drinks. And now we talk about Frank's best equipment, his exosuit and Capcom Heroes costumes. Frank West has an exosuit. Yeah, and it comes equipped with some ridiculous shit like miniguns, missiles, a high-powered vacuum, and more impressively a freeze ray that can launch out freezing ice tornadoes. But Frank's best tool comes from an arcade cabinet of all things. Man, when I do, crouch forward punch, I don't shoot fireballs, but Frank West sure can. Yeah, but anyway, Frank can actually use this machine to gain the costumes, weapons, and abilities of Capcom All-Stars, like Mega Man, where he gains the Mega Buster, or Ryu, where he can shoot Hadokens and do spinning kicks. With the Akuma outfit, he can use the legendary Raging Demon to destroy your soul, and he can use Dante's signature handguns and sword, as well as Morgan from Darkstalker's entire moveset. He also has some moves of his own, like a flip kick to decapitate foes, with power to disembowel a foe, or he can just slam someone's head against the floor so hard it shatters their skull. Also, Frank can throw people and suplex them and even judo flip opponents. Alright, on to feats. Well, Frank is like a fucking powerhouse. He can shatter skulls with his bare hands, decapitate people with kicks, and even disembowel a foe with his bare hands. And he can lift and throw heavy-ass objects like steel shelving very long distances, and he can smash benches and steel shelves with his bare hands. His power only increases when you factor in his guns and air horns that are able... And his power only increases when you factor in things like his guns, or his air horn that can pop zombie heads like grapes, or his laser sword that can cut through zombies like butter, or a laser gun that destroys hordes of zombies in seconds, and just ridiculous amounts of shit. He also has his trusty Mega Buster for extra power, and his exosuit that can allow him to launch cars with a single punch. He's actually super quick too, as he can outrun most survivors and zombies, and even better is when he could catch a train, and even more impressively, he's dodged bullets, missiles, lightning shots, and even laser blasts. But Frank West is also durable as hell. He can actually fall long distances with no issues and just get right back up. He survived hits from survivors with weapons, zombies, and even survived a hit from the blast from a patch, a weapon that casually rips through hordes of zombies. Plus, he survived a TNT explosion, and not to mention, he survived most of his own attacks from most of his own weapons before as well. He's also been awake and fighting for 72 hours straight in the first game alone. That's endurance. Think about it this way, after 2 days of being awake straight, you'll start to hallucinate, and Frank was able to go 3 without any, dip in any sort of energy or mental state. But Frank is also a fucking genius. Using nothing but a flashlight and some jewelry, he made a laser sword. He's made all sorts of other crazy combination weapons, and he can make his own. He can make up his own using nothing but what he finds in the mall. He's covered wars, I mean, honestly. He's also a wrestler and clearly has boxing and MMA skills, as when you put on the boxing and MMA gloves, he shows off incredibly impressive skills with them. But Frank is also human. Enough physical force can put him down for good, and his weapons do have limited ammo and durability. Plus, he's super cocky. Alright, our combatants are set.
State officials are prioritizing outbreak containment, yet there are still reports of looters within the city. Who knows what these people think is worth braving certain doom to get?
Sweet! Just what I was looking for.
You got a black belt and stupid if you think you're gonna beat me.
Never stopped me before, pal.
It's just not your day.
Batter up! flash. Lucky me.
Having fun yet?
Nice to meet you. Why don't you chill out?
Sorry about that. Web swing!
Our winner is Spider-Man. So, on to why Spider-Man takes the win. Spider-Man is roughly small town level of strength, as he's able to physically keep up with the likes of Luke Cage, and he one-shot T-Rex, and more importantly, with sheer strength alone, he moved the Hulk at speed to Mach 400. Oh, and he punched Scorpion's fucking jaw off his body. Yeah. You see, when it comes to Frank's physical strength, he can disembowel a person, decapitate people with a kick, and throw steel shells long distances. So in a bare fist fight, Frank should be able to hold his own. But add in their weapons, and oh boy, he can fuck some shit up. Like with his exosuit that can casually launch cars with about a 2 tons of punching force, and his better weapons have shown the strength to demolish buildings, and even larger buildings. So we know that, and we've also seen him take hits from these things. So Frank's at about a large building level of strength and durability with his absolute best gear. So strength and durability is a category that easily goes to Spider-Man. Now on to speed. While we know Spider-Man can for sure dodge machine gun fire and lightning, he also hit Quicksilver and caught Thor's hammer, which if you remember from like 2 episodes ago, I mentioned moves at billions of times the speed of light. Frank can dodge bullets as well as missiles, lightning, and lasers. Now, while this isn't a stomp, Spider-Man just held all the cards in this match. Looks like Frank West got arachnicated. The spider joke? Our winner is Spider-Man.